as long as Emily could remember, life felt like a series of tasks. Wake up, go to work, take care of responsibilities, and repeat. She was always busy, constantly rushing from one thing to the next. Her mind was filled with a never-ending list of things to do, and it seemed like there was never any time just to be. Emily had a good job, a comfortable home, and everything she thought she needed to be happy. But deep down, something was missing. There were moments when she would lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if this was all there was. Was this what life was supposed to be? One day, after a particularly stressful week at work, Emily decided to take a break. She took a long weekend off and drove to a quiet cabin in the woods, far away from her busy life in the city. She didn't have an exact plan. She just knew she needed space to clear her mind. The first morning in the cabin, she woke up to the sound of birds chirping outside. There was no rush, no alarm clock blaring, just silence. The kind of silence she had forgotten even existed. For the first time in a long while, she felt herself breathe deeply, taking in the fresh, clean air. It was so different from the noise of the city. Emily spent the day walking through the woods, surrounded by towering trees and a soft rustle of leaves. She wasn't in a hurry to go anywhere. She just followed the trails as they appeared, one step at a time. As she walked, she noticed how everything around her was alive, how the light danced through the branches, how the air felt alive with energy. For the first time, she felt connected to something bigger than herself. The world didn't feel like a series of separate tasks anymore. It felt like one living, breathing whole. That evening, as she sat on the porch of the cabin, watching the sunset over the horizon, something inside her shifted. She realized that for all her life, she had been so focused on the doing that she had forgotten how to simply be. In the rush of her busy life, she had lost sight of the deeper, quieter truth of who she was. As the stars began to appear in the night sky, Emily closed her eyes and took a deep breath. For the first time in a long time, she felt peace. She felt a sense of oneness with the world, as if she was a part of something much larger than herself. It was at that moment that she realized that her whole life had been a search for this feeling of connection, of meaning. The next few days in the cabin were a time of deep reflection. Emily didn't try to force anything. She simply allowed herself to be. She spent her time journaling, meditating, and sitting in silence. Slowly, she began to peel away the layers of her old self, the person who defined herself by what she did and what she had. In their place, she began to discover the person she had always been beneath the surface, a soul that was part of the vast, mysterious universe. When it was time to return to the city, Emily felt different. She didn't have all the answers, but she knew she wasn't the same person who had driven out to the woods just a few days ago. The noise of her everyday life still called to her, but she now had a new perspective. She didn't have to rush through everything. She didn't have to measure her worth by her accomplishments. She could simply be. Back in the city, Emily made small changes. She started meditating every morning, taking moments throughout the day to pause and breathe. She learned to listen to her inner voice rather than the external pressures of society. She found joy in the small moments, sipping coffee in the morning sunlight, listening to her favorite music, or just sitting quietly in a park. Over time, Emily's spiritual awakening grew deeper. She began to connect with others who shared her journey, finding a community of like-minded individuals who valued peace, mindfulness, and spiritual growth. She learned to trust the flow of life, to let go of control, and to embrace the uncertainty of the future. Years passed, and Emily's life continued, but it was no longer a life of rushing from one task to the next. She had found a deep well of inner peace and connection that she carried with her everywhere she went. She understood now that the real answers were not found in the noise of the world, but in the quiet spaces of her heart. She had awoken to a deeper truth, that life wasn't about achieving or accumulating, but about being present, being connected, and being in tune with the beautiful, mysterious flow of the universe. And it was in that simplicity that she found true peace.